righty.
Okay, I'm recording.
Okay.
Hey, Dr. Crawford and Dr. Hamilton.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Okay.
Hello.
Dr. Shepard is not going to be with us. He has another engagement at his high school tonight, so he could not be with us.
Okay. All right. Well, I peeked in. I finished my class a few minutes early. Tuesday night and peeked in. I really like what's going on.
Well, thank you. I'm proud.
Of course,
Proud of our experts.
y'all didn't need me to tell you that already, that it was good.
You made Dr. Crawford smile.
Yeah. I hate to get all choked up about it or anything, but it was good.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it hurts me to say nice things. It's just
Dr.
so.
Crawford, he acts big and bad, but you know he plays Santa Claus, so he can't be so bad.
I don't tell people that.
You gotta remember, Dr. Lamb and I go back to my
Long
days as a young principal.
He told me that. Yeah, he told me how you followed him at that when it was a junior high school and then it became a middle school. Yeah,
he learned a lot more than I knew. He still had a milk mustache back in them days. He was a young man.
That's the kind of school.
Sorry.
That's the kind of school you adapt or die.
That's exactly right.
I've had them. I've been right there. I know.
Yeah, boy.
Dr. Lamb, my assistant principal, has a picture of the two of you together. So the next time you're in Wilmington, we expect you to come to the school and get one of all three of us together.
I will. I'll do that. I'll be down there before long. I'm gonna come by and see you.
Well, we're looking for you.
I'm excited about heading down that way.
Romy is a treat, I'll tell you. She's great.
Yeah. You know, I met her and Mindy, was her partner, her running mate at Sawmills in Caldwell County.
That's right.
And then she moved, her and her husband moved to Wilmington. And she's, and I tell you, she said to me, it's so much different. The kids were poor at Sawmills, but, at Mary C. Williams, where she was initially there in the Federal Housing Project, it was a different ball game. And I was talking to one of my students in Charlotte about that at the time, and that student said something, the most profound thing I believe I've ever heard. And she said, poor is situational. Mm-hmm. Living in poverty is generational. Mm-hmm. And there's a big difference. And there was a big difference in the situational poverty in Caldwell County that was born out of all the mills and furniture factories closed, and working at Mary C. Williams in generational poverty where nobody that the children knew had ever held a job.
Right.
That changes the game in education. And what Dr. Crawford and I are talking about, we worked at different times as a junior high when I was there, middle school when he was there, in a place that had generational poverty. Mm-hmm. That we had a large African American and Asian population, and those kids hadn't never known anybody that had a job. Mm-hmm. They were that was get tough or die kind of thing.
Only after you're done calling.
Oh yeah.
But there was plenty of students to love there. I can tell you that.
I know there was. Well, we're looking for you.
I'll be there.
Mine at 3 o'clock today. Bye.
7. I'm gonna go ahead and.
I didn't go to bed.
All right, and then y'all can just unmute yourselves. Good evening, this is Dale Lamb, Gardner Webb. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is my schedule. This is my class on schedule this week. Let me scroll down here. So we have made it to Thursday, March 21st. It says that I am to review competency and task stream requirements tonight. All right, so I'm going to dive right into that. I'll go ahead and move that off the screen. First thing I want to do is go to task stream. And this is going to be hard, I'm afraid. Let's see if it's going to work. There it is. All right, because I've got two different accounts open at the same time. So this is going to be a juggling act, but it'll be okay. So what I'm most concerned about tonight is competency folio, but I'm going to cover that second. I'm going to do a couple reminders with you first. I'm going to go in under your view. Let's see. So this is spring. This is what you see when you go in. You all know that you have 1, 2, 3 pages. Always put your work in on the work pages. If you get comments back, they'll come here. The scores results will be here when you put your work in for grading. The thing that I want to remind you about in your DRF portfolio tonight is you should already have uploaded your app cell for evaluation. I think all of you have. Competency analysis won't be due until after you complete task 4 of the AppTel that you're working on now. Now, competency analysis, you go in and complete the form and you rate yourself on how well you met your competencies. There's nothing really to write here. You go in and rate yourself on how well that you did and be honest with yourself. And this is kind of a checklist for you. This is a self-reflection, self-assessment piece. These are things that I need to work on. These are things that I'm doing pretty well on, or these are things I need to work on. So go ahead and fill your assessment out, but you will do that after you have completed all 21 of your competencies, which means at the end of AppTel Task 4. Just as a reminder, you did 13 competencies when you did AppCell Task 5. You do the other 9 for AppTel Task 4. That will be 21, and at that point, you can come in and do your competency analysis. Let me save and return that. Okay. All right. And then if you have not already done so, go in and do your School of Ed dispositions. Again, doesn't take but a minute. You can do these at any time during this semester. You rate yourself on learner development, learner differences, learning environments, content knowledge, application of content, assessment, planning for instruction, instructional strategies, professional learning and ethical practice, leadership and collaboration. Those are the areas that you need to rate your dispositional skills on. Dispositional skills are things that you hold personally. This is where you are now. There's a box for under each one of these. I don't expect anything in those boxes. Again, you rate yourself. It's a self-assessment. Unless you believe that you exceed expectations. If you believe that you exceed expectation, you need to tell me why. I'm not going to argue with you, but I'd like to know what makes you, and you may exceed expectation, but I need to know why. This is good for us. It guides us in a lot of what we do. So anytime now you can go in, and do this anytime now. So make sure that you understand that this can be done anytime. Competency analysis is to be done in your DRF portfolio once you have completed both the AppCell and the AppTel, Task 5 and then Task 4. You will have done the 21, and then you can go in and rate yourself on how well that you have done. Dispositions can be done anytime. The only other thing that you will have is when you complete the AppTel in a few weeks, you will upload it the same way that you did the AppCell for state evaluation. I would like to say that I don't know that it's being boastful, but I would like to thank your instructors because, gosh, your scores have been great. And the grading is it's very rigorous. The grading is very rigorous, but you have done a great job. And I say that to say this. we've been working the last few days on getting ready for our accreditation visit. And one of the things that we look at is student responses. And we had a student from 3 years ago who completed the program 3 years ago who complained, and this is a direct quote, "I didn't learn anything. All we did was evidence and artifacts." And I thought, well, you didn't understand the point. That is the learning. I want to remind you again that evidence artifacts are important, and it's important to know the difference in an evidence and an artifact. The evidence is a written narrative. The artifacts are what go into the competency folio, and that's what sets us up tonight. Now, the reason why they are so important, and that you number one, you learn so much from them, but more importantly, you learn the job from them. You learn the job of being an administrator from the evidence artifacts. Guess how you're going to be evaluated once you're on the job? You're going to be evaluated on the basis of evidence artifacts. When your supervisor comes out to do your yearly or your semi-annual review, you have to have written narratives, evidences of what you've done in all of these areas, and you also have to display your artifacts. And they have a list of the things that they expect to see that have been generated from the work that you do. They don't give you a test. They don't have you read a chapter or write a paper. You have to display evidence artifacts in the evaluation system. So this is the learning that takes place in this program, is evidence artifacts. It is centered around these because this is the way we do business. This is what we want you to learn in terms of what the job is. I've had students who got through this and said, man, I'll be glad if I never see another evidence artifact. And I said, well, good. But then you've learned that you don't want to be in this business because this is how this business works. So that sets up tonight is the other half. The first half, of course, are your evidences. The second half is your artifacts. Now, we have them set up so that you can put them in a separate folio and so that you can publish and share them with potential employers. That way they're separate from this. Also, our creditors, the CAPE folks, want to see proof of the work that you've done, and they want to see it separately. So that's my entree tonight to go to folios and web pages. And you know that you have set you up a folio. And I'll go into mine and look. And so you can start anytime now, since you have finished your app cell, going in and entering in your artifacts. And you say, well, Dale, remind us what artifacts are. Well, okay. So here are where you'll find your artifacts. From your evidence artifact work, these would be artifacts that you generated while having done the app cell. And before you blow me up with questions, these are in your shell. These are under your templates and materials. So these would be considered artifacts that you have done from the app cell. The email PLC permission from your principal, just screenshot it, the email, your PLC agenda, PLC minutes, pictures of your PLC meeting, your validated scores, the data set of them, your search study abstracts, and pictures of video of your action plan presentation to school administration, and or a picture or video of a PLC meeting. Those are all artifacts that you generated from the work that you did. They weren't made just for a rating. The state manual on this is very clear. An artifact is not something that you generated for a rating or a score for evaluation. It's a byproduct of your work. And so those are the ones that were generated from the app cell. I won't read all of them to you, but you can see the list of the ones that were generated once you do your app cell. Now, the competency that I went ahead and said, this is where I think these would fit in these particular competencies, and I numbered them and then right behind it are the numbers. So competency 1 is communication. I believe an email permission would be a proof of communication. It's pretty simple. So that's where they come from. These are from the 6 evidence artifacts. Yeah, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Crawford. If you're ever part of an advanced ed visit accreditation, it's the same thing on the district and the school. It's the same way for us at college. Guess what we were working on all day today? We were working not on evidences. We've already submitted our evidences as an EPP, an educational provider. We had to have our evidence in back in August. They returned our report and said, all right, here are the artifacts that we want to see. So I was going through emails today, pulling up student surveys. I was pulling up artifacts today. We were working today. We worked 3 different days this week. We've worked on gathering our artifacts that our team wants to see. We have them. I had all mine categorized. I have mine in folders. But yes, we're having to pull our artifacts together now. That's the way accreditation works as well. It's evidence artifacts. Everything now in education is evidence artifact. Great point, Dr. Crawford. So you better get used to this. This is how it works. All right, so these are the ones from the evidence that you're doing now, the AppSell and the AppTel. You can also generate artifacts from the work you do at your school during your 30 hours of clinical. And so here's what I have got for you on that. Again, it's in your shell under template and materials. When you address a large or small group of adults, I believe that fits dialogue inquiry or a communication competence. We'd need to see like a video or a picture of you doing that. Now, when you go, as I've told you, to your competency folio, we want things. You can't argue for competency there. That's in analysis. We need to have a picture of you doing that, or an agenda from a meeting that you ran for adults. Those are the kinds of things. A student assistance team meeting, I need to see an agenda or a role that you were there. That's the kind of stuff. You can use your phone, screenshots, pictures, JPEGs, those kinds of things. We need proof that you did what you said you did. To that end, I have made for you, if I can find it here. This is in your clinical handbook. All of you have one. A log, this is where you log your 80 hours each semester. I've put these columns on here, proof and competency, for you as a cataloging system to remind you, oh, this activity fits this competency, and this is the proof that I have of that. We're not going to check that when we return your hour. We're just going to look at the activity and the hours. The competency and the proof categories are there to help you to get organized where you can go back and find these things that you have done. You need a system so that you know where your stuff is. I mean, if you look at my file manager, what you're going to find is I create folders for everything, and I go back and put things in my folders. And so I know where all my stuff is. And so then I can find it later on. The same thing you do with emails and with documents, you do the same things with them. You create folders. I create folders. I have a second email set up for my Gardner Web, and I archive everything in there. So if Gardner Web ever goes down, I have all my emails archived, and I have them all by category. You need to get organized. It makes you much more efficient when you get your organization together. That's part of what we're trying to teach you as well. So there's where your competency artifacts come from. They come from the work that you do as a clinical intern. That's logged on this sheet. You can keep where your proof are and which competency it fits. This one, this is what comes from the evidence artifact work. Now, when you get these and you get ready to get started, you of course go to this one and you simply click on attachments and you upload them. Now, make sure if you've got videos, there's a button for videos. There's a button for links like to YouTube. There's a button for slideshows like PowerPoint and Prezi. PDFs use the text and image button. Attachments would be Word documents and Excel documents. So make sure that you use the proper media. Now, text and image is also JPEGs, which are pictures, and PNGs, which are screenshots. Make sure you select the proper button and upload. And then, and I'm gonna send this to Dr. Stedman, let him post it in all the shells. I'm just too good to you people. And then once you have all of that, yeah, the question about an Excel sheet's a good idea as well. You can create an Excel sheet. We made this one so you could just do it by hand. All right, so now, let's see. What I have made, is, let me close some of this stuff. Here's an example. This is what it ought to look like. This is what it ought to look like. This one has been published and shared. I had Anara do that for me yesterday just for you because I like y'all so well. I was grading hers yesterday and I thought, man, this one looks really good. And I shot her an email and said, would you mind if, would you publish and share it with me? I'd like to use this one. And she said she was honored, and she did, and she sent it back. And here it is. Look at this. It's a link that goes to this one. And so this is what it should look like. So this is the first one, communication. So one of these three, and they should come from the app cell, the SOP, and one open-ended, and it has to satisfy a digital learning competency. And so she told us about her three, one from the app cell in the fall of 17, one from the spring of 18 was open-ended, and it was a digital learning, and one from the SOP in spring of 19, and it was a digital learning as well. So she gave us a little, you don't have to write an explanation unless, you need to tell us what it is, and you don't have to be this long, 1 or 2 sentences. And then there is the actual documents or the things, the artifacts she uploaded in. One's a Word document, one is a video, but there they are. So there are the actual artifacts. These just set them up and tell us what they are, and there they are. Look at that. Isn't that perfect? And she's done that with each one of them. Change management. That one also had to have a digital learning competency. She had 2. One open-ended, one SOP, and one from the app cell. There they are, and there's the 3. There's her 3 artifacts. And she gives us a little narrative about what they are. Again, yours doesn't have to be quite that long. Again, look at that. She's got 4 under this one. She did 2 extra. See, she's a star pupil. She goes the extra mile. If anybody knows her, you tell her that I think she's wonderful. And there again, got 5 under that one. She was, understanding. You say, well, if only 3 was required, why would she do 5? You're making this for you to use to try to get a job. It would behoove you to put as many good examples as you've got in there. We just want to see 3, but you could put 4 or 5 in there because you're going to publish and share this, and you can share this link with potential employers. They want to see that you know what evidences and artifacts are. They don't want to read your evidences. They would like to see your stuff, though. One of the 5 things you're supposed to take to an interview is a portfolio of your work. This is what that is. When we get to 6:05 and I do the interviewing section with you, one of the first documents I'll cover with you, the 5 things to take to a job interview. Obviously, your resume and your references, but a portfolio of your work product. This is a way that you can show people the work you can do without ever actually having been in the job. See, the old conundrum was, how do you get a job without experience, and how do you get experience without a job? It's hard to break into this business because I can't show anybody what I can do. Here's your opportunity to show people what you can do. Look what a wonderful job she's done all the way through on her. She has it so organized. There's all of her artifacts. This one is perfect. It's so easy to do this.
Dr. Lamb, this is a prime example too. You know, we've constantly talked to them and shown them how, you know, proficient means that you've done what you need to do, but this is the difference between being proficient and accomplished.
That's exactly right. This is accomplished work. This is the kind of stuff that makes me smile. I didn't make her do this. She did this because she was motivated to be more than just average or proficient. Those are the people you want to hire. See, I've seen her work all the way through. I'd hire her tomorrow because she's a go-getter. Her work's been perfect. She's on the ball. She's engaged. When I had her in class, she was there every week, and she asked good questions, and she participated. She was embedded in this process. And those are the kinds of things that when I write letters for people that I remind potential employers of as well. So when Dr. Stedman sends you the link from tonight's session, I'm going to send him this link so that I'll forward him this email so he can get this link so that you can see these, and I'll have him post it. He can also post it in the shell where you'll have a link to go in and see what one looks like. And you'll know, this is, again, we expect 3. You can do more than that if you need to. It's up to you. So this is hers. And I want to make sure we give her credit, what wonderful work she has done. And I appreciate that from her. So you will need to get started because by the end of this semester, you will need to have done 1 round of the 3 required rounds by the end of the semester. Again, your choice as to when to do them, and your choice when to do the digital ones or which ones you want to do as a digital learning competency. Be sure to read the directions. Each of these directions are different. You say, well, but I opened one of them, it didn't have a digital. There are only 18. So of the 21 competencies, 18 of them are going to have a specific digital learning competency that go with them. 3 won't have one. They're just hard to have one. But most all of them do. Be sure to read what that competency says, because they're all different. See, now this one does not have results orientation, does not have a digital learning competency. And so it just tells you you've got to have one from the skip cap and one open-ended. It doesn't have a digital. So that's not a mistake. There are 18 digital competencies and 21 competencies. So if you want to know what the 18 are, I have included them in your folio. You can read what they are. Here are the 18. They're right here. And I took and put them where I thought they best represented where they would be most relevant in terms of the 21 competencies. Probably somebody else would have done it differently, but it's good to be king. All right, what's next?
Okay, that was
I'm
it.
5 minutes. I got through 5 minutes early, and I'll
Good.
make sure we remind everybody of that. I'll turn it back to you, Dr. Stedman. Thank you for letting me come on tonight.
Okay, that's it. The main thing was you need to read Dr. Crawford's comments about you that everybody's seeing. He's made David smile the whole time.
He never smiles. I practice that.
But no, we had a pretty rigorous class on Tuesday night, so they know that there's a lot that they've got to do. I think that they are beginning, based on some emails that I've gotten and some correspondence I've had, I think the light bulb is coming on, and they're beginning to see how all of this fits together and what they've got to do. So, just keep on working, and we'll be ready for you on Tuesday night.
All right. When am I back on with y'all? I came in. I saw about the last half of your class Tuesday. Again, I was very impressed with the mini lessons the instructors are doing. I'm impressed with the work that's going on, the feedback that they're providing for you, the instruction. It looks very, very good to me. I can tell you our accreditors are very, very pleased with the program. Dr. Stedman, I know, and I know Dr. Shepard's coming with our Cape visit. Dr. Crawford, I'd like to invite you to come as well. I know you got an invitation from the university that Sunday that they're coming. Dr. Hamilton, we're only going to get to meet with them for 45 minutes in terms of our off-campus staff, but I'm sure there'll be other opportunities as well, but it'll be good for them to see everybody. But this program has been kind of the bright and shining star during the accreditation process. It has nothing to do with me. Let's be clear about that. It has to do with student work. It has to do with the instructors and student work. That's what's made the program a star. They've been most complimentary of what they have seen. We have 2 new principals in Rocky Mount that came through that were mine, and Dr. Stedman's in Rocky Mount. Both Courtney and Craig now are principals. They got promoted. They are both principals in Rocky Mount Nash now, Craig Tedford and Courtney Bassett. They were students of ours there. And it couldn't have been that long ago, but I guess it was. They've already moved through the assistant principal ranks and already made principals.
Dr. Lamb, let me let them know. I got a call from Dr. Lamb last week, and this is why what you do is so important. He said, Dr. Stedman, he said, I got a call from somebody in the Wake County area. He said they have asked, do you have a strong candidate from your program that has completed your program that you would recommend to be interviewed for an assistant principalship? Well, I taught, when I was doing face-to-face, I taught in that area. So Dr. Lamb called me, and I had a classroom of students, but immediately I was able to say, I would recommend so-and-so. That's how it works sometimes. So you need to know that what you do is noticed, and that you never know when somebody calls, and what we say or do can make a difference, Dr. Lamb.
Well, I had them categorized. I pulled up over 100 reference requests from the last year. The last calendar year, I've had over 100. When we get through tonight, I'm going to write a reference letter just in a few minutes. That's what I do. I have templates already where I just put their name in it, and I have some choices about what I want to say about them. But I'm going to write one here in the next 15 minutes. I'm going to write one. I write a reference letter 3 or 4 times a week. I do reference forms for school districts, probably the same amount, 3 or 4 times a week. I've done over 100 in the last calendar year. I get calls all the time. I was texting with one of our folks that just got a job in Hawaii, Amber Phelps. And that's the rarest of the rare in a union state for somebody who came in as a military dependent to be able to get an assistant principal job. But she was great. And we worked with her. The only thing, Gardner Webb wouldn't pay for me to make a site visit, but we Zoomed all the time. That was the only thing that made me mad about that. I was ready to go to the Big Island. They was afraid I'd come out the Speedo, so they didn't let me go. So, yeah, we had another one. I mean, I'm in contact with people every day. I got an email. I bet I got an email today.
You did, because I read it, and I was going to tell you that person graduated with us completed the program last semester in December, and they were talking about how everything that they had learned, they are beginning to see how it all comes together and how they have been able to use every bit of all 3 classes in the work that they're currently doing.
Yeah.
That email came today. She copied me in that email.
I have been able to
There it
put
is.
into practice much of what I've learned through my coursework. So I'm going to do her a letter of reference, but I got a thank you note yesterday, I guess. We'll have another one get a job, and I try to keep up. I have a group. We keep up with all these folks who get jobs. We're taking over the world, one school at a time, with best practices. That's what we're doing. We're providing, I believe, quality leadership for staff and students that's based on outcomes. It's based on quality instruction, not on politics and good old boyism, but it's all about student achievement. And that's why our folks are doing really well in the business. They understand that it's all about students. It's not about you. If you're out leading and nobody's following you, you're just wandering around. I mean, you just, that the reason people will follow you is because they see the merit in what you do. And so that's important. All right, Dr. Stedman, back to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna forward you this email with the link to this competency folio, and you can put it in the shells, and you can share it with them via email, or you can send them the link when you send out the YouTube link for tonight.
Okay, Dr. Crawford, I will do the emailing, but I'll send it to you to put in your 2 shells later on as well. Okay?
All right.
Well, good night, everybody, and we will see you on Tuesday.
Good
Bye.
night.
Okay.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.